And for our next talk, I'd like to introduce our speakers. It's Darryl D'Souza and Jay Sutaria. I know we've already introduced Darryl, even though he doesn't need any introduction. We're going to do it all over again, in case anyone missed it. No? Okay. Darryl's very humble, so I'd like to introduce Jay Sutaria. Jay Sutaria is a food activist. He's also the co-founder of Ann Heirloom Foods, Goa, working under the aegis of Anny Kohli, who was just up here on stage a little while ago, to propagate her philosophy of circle of God that includes farm, food, and health. At Ann, Jay works closely with heirloom superfoods and people with chronic conditions. At Ann or anywhere else, Jay helps people navigate through the myriad of complexes of modern science and demystifies perspectives on many relevant issues like organic certified food, cancer, and other autoimmune conditions, followed through by real solutions by food alone. So let's put our hands together to invite both our speakers, Darryl D'Souza and Jay Sutaria, to please come up on stage. And we're all really looking forward to this talk. They'll be talking about healing cancer.
So, the healing part of cancer comes later. First, you should know what it is actually. You should understand what it is, and then you will surely begin to see what path unfolds to curing cancer. And it is becoming a more important topic with every passing week, I would say, with the rate at which we are hearing news about cancer in the public domain. This was about 5 years back that I was treating a patient for cancer in Goa. And after about 3 to 4 months, it went into remission. And, all the cancer markers were down, and it seemed that there was no cancer in the body. So I was so happy. And it was a lady. I was so happy, and I said, why don't we announce this, and why don't we tell people, what you've done, and that you've worked through it, and you've come out successful. And of course, she was happy about it, but she said, no, I don't want you to tell anybody about it. I said, why is that so? If such a good thing has happened, we need to give an example to the world. She said, yes, but my name cannot be mentioned, because I have 2 daughters, and they are both of a marriageable age. If anybody knows that they are my children, then they may not marry her, because people think that cancer comes through the genes as well. So I cannot take her name. And by saying this, I'm just trying to give you an idea that cancer is in more homes than you actually know. People don't want to talk about it because it's a stigma. Only those few who are successful and are so excited about it, they will talk about it. So, what is cancer? And from here, this diagram, you can see it looks like the multiplication of cells. So, the modern definitions of cancer, something like this: uncontrolled growth of abnormal cells within the body. What are abnormal cells? And I say no, that is the wrong definition of cancer. And here was the next explanation that you'll find when you go to some cancer research places and hospitals as well. Every cell in the body knows when to die. But there are some cells in the body that for some reason or the other, no explanation, okay, are not able to remember that they must die. So they just keep on growing and multiplying, eventually becoming a tumor. And I've said, even this is completely wrong. The intelligence of the body, the mechanisms that the body works upon, and the sciences, they are more deeper, more complex, and multifold than all the sciences put together to put a manned spacecraft to go out of this orbit of this planet and go to another planet, pick up samples, and come back. This organism that has evolved through so many millions of years, it actually knows what it is doing, and the only thing it knows is to heal itself. If we give it even half the chance. But the problem is, we will not even give it half the chance. So what are we doing to our bodies, to our systems that is causing cancer? That is what I'm going to present in a few slides. And overall, as I want you to understand the mechanism of cancer and why it happens. And then Jay will get into much more detail on certain aspects of cancer. And you will see from these explanations and evidences, you will begin to understand what cancer is. And that is very important, understanding the steps that lead to the illness. If you properly understand A, B, C, D equals cancer, then you know how to walk back that stage and do some things that bring you from C, D, B, A equals cancer-free. But if you go in this direction, some reasons is not A, B, C, D. A, B, C, D are very specific things which I will explain. But when you're going around in circles like this with these definitions, you're not even understanding how cancer happened. So there's no scope of you curing cancer. Now, for those of you who have read my book, Become Healthy or Extinct, I've written in one chapter, there is no such thing as an autoimmune disease. Only autoimmune responses that are only autoimmune rightful responses by the human body to maintain homeostasis. Homeostasis are balancing mechanisms that keep your body healthy and keep you functioning. And the things that we are doing are many wrong things in today's society that the human body never experienced over the last evolution of million years. And when you subject that to the human body, it is going to give a response. Anything in the cosmos is going to give you a response if you do something to it. And I say cancer is the response, the rightful response by the human body because of what we are doing to it. A definition in just one line without beating around the bush. The reactive expression of a human cell that is subjected to chronic cellular irritation. Chronic means long-term at the cellular level. So an irritation that is continuous on the cell, are you expecting that this biological organism that has fought, lived, gone through all kinds of climate change and all of that, you think it's just going to sit tight and not respond? So I say here there are 3 types of cellular irritations. And I will explain them in detail. Energy irritation. Foreign substance, that is things that are not natural to the human body. Foreign organism, That is, organisms, especially the harmful ones. When I say, all our gut bacteria, yeast, fungi and all, they're not foreign. They are local, they are residential, they are the normal flora and fauna of our body. But foreign means that which is not supposed to get inside the human body. So there are some, I wonder if the font is big enough, but I will just summarize what I'm talking about here. Two categories of chronic irritation. One is internal, one is external. External, very easy to understand. First, let me start with internal. Internal energies are flowing within the human body. They got very specific frequencies of light and sound and vibration that run our human bodies. And you will understand them from the chakra system that we follow in India, the various chakras in the human body. Why that color of Vibgya is there? Because that energy is vibrating from the human body and it comes out. And if sunlight at a particular angle in a particular way falls, then you can see this colors. In my 1-week residential workshops that I do, I train people, and in 2-3 days they can see colors around each other's body. So this is nothing fictional. It doesn't require a certain camera or scanning equipment or read ancient Indian texts. Okay, so there are different colors which are Vibgya, and they are what I call the harmonic energies. So wonderful heart chakra will radiate, there is red, but red is at the lower, your root chakra, but there will be green energy. Beautiful green, emerald green energy. And that energy will come out of this part of your body when your emotions are in alignment, when you're happy, joyful, optimistic, celebrating. But when that same emotional center of yours becomes angry, hateful, suspicious, doubtful, manipulative, right from those words that I'm saying, they are already changing what is happening inside your body. Right? From just half a minute back, it was nice. And now when I use these different words, the energy frequency in your space has changed. So when we hold toxic emotions in different centers of our body, because each of these energy centers, they hold different emotions, and those emotions translate into behavior. Many people in the world now are getting anal cancer, anal abscess, because the anus is close to the root chakra of the body. And I've seen in all the cases, what has happened? A husband has lost the job. They've lost their family wealth. A daughter or son or parents have died. So all those emotional traumas, they will damage the lower energy center. So internal energy can become unharmonic and radiate hurtful vibrations through your cells of your liver, and like I gave examples earlier, your liver. Okay? Anger, hate, resentment and all is going to make your liver get sick and toxic because of unharmonic energies. And outside the body, the unharmonic energies are frequencies of energy that human body was never used to. You keep a laptop on your lap and you work. Those are not the same frequencies of energy that are vibrating in your body. You keep it every day. It's a chronic energy that you bring into your energy field, and that is going to impinge into your cells and start irritating them. So that's why mobiles kept in the front pocket, back pocket and all is bringing down the sperm count of men in the world today, and they all have to go and see the fertility doctor. This is a chart for my book, in the metaphysics chapter of my book, where you'll get all these details, okay, which are the frequencies of the different energy centers. When they are imbalanced, what is the illness that manifests? And if you want to bring them into balance, what you should do. And these are some main examples. The next, what I said is inorganic substance irritation. How do they get into the cells of our body? One of the main causes is the modern packaged food products. Why is there so much cancer happening in society today and not 30 years back? There were no packaged food products 30 years back. So now you have these tins, and basically we are the first one who break the laws. Okay, tomatoes will come in certain seasons, but we human beings are not happy with it. We want it all through the year. So now to keep it all through the year, we put it in a tin. And if we had put anything natural along with the tomato, that and the tomato would have decomposed, because decomposition is the natural cycle of life. Even for us, our bodies. Tomato ripens, falls on the ground, and it's into the ground in 15 days. Okay? So now, such laws of nature we want to defy, and we want to bring in inorganic substances. We bring in such powerful chemicals and put them in this tin that they break all the God-given laws of nature. So you have to understand what powerful things we are putting in this. And in this you will find a synthetic taste enhancer, a coloring agent, a flavoring agent, a smelling agent, and then there's a super chemical called stabilizer. Stabilizers have got technical names and catalog names. But stabilizer is something like a headmaster in a class when the children are fighting with each other. They will say, all you guys shut up, sit down in your place, nobody fights with anybody. So stabilizer is a chemical that cuts the cross reactions between other chemicals and the food. So it's the super chemical. Now this whole atomic warfare, we will put it in that tin and it remains stable because it's airtight. Then we bring it home, we open the can, and then we put it inside, and that atomic warfare starts happening in our body. These are all free radicals which do free radical scavenging. That means they are lacking in electrons. And as they pass your mouth and all your organs and all, they rob electrons from your body, causing inflammation, ulceration, and cancer. So that's also chronic cellular irritation. So this is through our food. And this, to get further, all the cosmetics, inorganic chemicals through our cosmetics and all of those are coming into our skin. And you think it's just on your skin and you're washing off with soap. No, it goes into your sweat glands, it gets into your bloodstream, and then from the bloodstream it's in your kidneys, it's in your liver, it's everywhere. Human body does whatever it can do to modify some of those things and take them out. But human body cannot process things in the cosmos that did not exist before human beings started manufacturing them, like plastics. So this is the same category of, and so it's on our cosmetics, it's in our fiber, it's in the asbestos, it is, in our paints, our vapors. Whenever you get a smell, you think, oh, you're only smelling something. No, that thing has gone into your bloodstream and that has reached your brain. And that's how you have understood that it's petrol, this is paint, this is synthetic, this is enamel. So these are the things that we're doing to the human body on a daily basis that never happened a few hundred years back. Finally, the last is living organisms. Some people have seen tumors and they have, where the tumors are being, eaten up by organisms. Now, when the organism is microscopic, you cannot see it. And you think, oh, they're just blisters in the wound that's festering. But if it was a little bigger, you would have seen, like people have seen worms and maggots come out of people's wounds and all that. Sometimes you see dogs and all that, when they get wounds, you'll see maggots coming out. Those are big ones. But there are microscopic ones also, that once they get into the human body, and the anal abscess is a perfect example of that. There are people in cities who are using borewell water, which is going so down and picking up certain organisms that are not even in our topsoil, and that they are using the health faucet and they are washing there. Yeah, anuses, and that's where, foreign organisms are coming inside. That's one route. So, in my book, there are technical names of the flukes. There's a liver fluke called Phaseolopsis busci. There's another which eats up the liver. There's a pancreatic fluke which causes pancreatic cancer. There's an intestine fluke that actually eats up the intestine slowly. Yeah, here they are. That is what I was suffering from. Candida, I was suffering from systemic candidiasis. That means fungal growth in my intestines. There's a book which is written and it says, cancer is a fungus called Candida. By that definition, I am a cancer survivor. But I say, no, that's only 1/3 of what cancer is. I had to go on a special diet, very restrictive diet for 1.5 years. And not even antifungals could cure this problem. And that's how I came out of it. So now what happens to the human body when it is subjected to chronic cellular irritation? I'll give you a small example. Somebody sitting here in front with a chair on a chair here. If I just sit in front of the person's face and keep on slapping them with a ruler, right? And 100 slaps are over, what's going to happen to their skin? Inflamed, red, and it's ready to, all the capillaries are bursting. That is what chronic cellular irritation will do. So this is literally like this kind of invasive behavior. Now, another example is what is the cancer cell going through? If there is a nice bathtub and I take spring water from the mountain and I put it in the bathtub and then you step inside and you relax in that, how will you feel? Very nice and relaxed and cool and rejuvenated. But suppose you come out and then I take 1 liter of that acid toilet cleaner, HCl, yellow liquid, and I put that 2-3 bottles of it in that bathtub. And then we put you inside. So the first time your environment was harmonic and matching your energy. Now it is acid around that. So what is your cells going to experience? Irritation, burning, right? So that's like a chronic irritation. Now in the first case, even if the acid was not there and it was the spring water, you're nicely relaxing over there, and I come and then I put your head under the water and I don't allow you to come up. For first 15 seconds, you'll say, what is Darryl up to? This is Darryl. Darryl, you'll try to, what are you doing? You'll be thinking about something or wondering, what's happening. Is it an experiment? But after half a minute, when your breath is going out, you see the amount of strength that you develop, your willpower, your fighting thing, and you will almost explode out of that place. So when an organism is under a very vital and damaging threat, it is going to collect all its energy and it is going to fight back in a response. So that is why they say, these cancer cells, they eat up all the sugar. Do not give sugar to the person because the cancer cells will grow. The cancer cell is under a vital attack. It is trying to protect itself. It is trying to fight. It is going to pull all nutrition that you give it and the human body. Like in my TEDx talk, one of the main first foods of human beings is fruits and natural sugars. Yes. So sugar, that's what. So the thing is not that do not give it sugar. The thing is that find out what is that cell fighting against. Just like your whole body is trying to live, your cell is also trying to live. So if you stop the chronic irritation, then the cell starts healing itself and it normalizes. If I take out my hand and then your head comes up, will you be fighting anymore to get out of the bathtub? No. Till the attack is violent, you will respond violently with all your energy. So very simple to see. And now another example. Suppose you're walking in the mud road and you slip and you fall. You get a small bruise on your knee, right? It starts healing in 1 to 3 days. A scab is formed. On the 5th day, you fall on that same part. What happens again? Again, that scab starts becoming bigger. After 5 days, you fall on it again. So what is this I would call? He's got a chronic habit of falling on that damn knee. It's a chronic irritation. After 4 or 5 times, you look at that person's knee, and from such a small wound, it's become so huge. So is that something ugly? Is that some cancerous activity? Is that cells that are going mad and growing out of proportion? No. It is a rightful repair mechanism by the body because you have been damaging it every 5 days. And so how many of us are going to all these malls, and every day what you're eating, are you putting some packaged food product in your body, processed? Okay, so packaging, sometimes even we have some organic products here that are vacuum packed because, if they catch moisture, they get bad and fungus. So just simple packing in a paper and all, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking of processed food with all those chemicals. So if you're going to eat that kind of food, you are asking for cancer every day. You should be thankful that if you are not having cancer, you should be thankful to your body that, you've kept me alive till now in spite of me doing all this junk, eating all this junk. So I will just give some overall points. There is a chapter on cancer in my book explaining this in more detail. And so some guidelines are there. First is the fear. People are mortally afraid. When you're mortally afraid that you have got cancer or there's some count is showing high, your entire energy system is gone for a 6. Fear, emotional disturbance is going to bring down the efficient functioning of good energy and all thinking mechanism, blood flow mechanism, movement mechanism, biocurrent flow mechanism. A stress condition will bring down all these efficiencies, so your cancer will progress faster. Try to be a little more calm, and it is introspection and meditation. What am I doing from my morning to my night that is unnatural to my body? It is not a disease, rather it is your body giving you a warning sign that many things within it have gone wrong drastically. Cancer, I'm saying cancer is your friend, warns you in advance and progresses slowly. Otherwise, perhaps you would have just dropped dead in a few days. So first is the state of mind, understanding. Now cancer, I'm saying, by the definition, is not some unknown, not something that you don't know who's going to hit and what is going to hit and all. You just look at these 3 places, How is your energy and inside, and what are the electronic devices you're keeping around you? Second, what are the foreign substances and how they're coming into your body? Third, are you living in unhygienic conditions, or are you doing certain things that are getting foreign organisms in your body? Here, once you already have cancer, those cells are going to fight to live. So stop processed sugar completely and reduce too much of sweetness, and adjust your diet accordingly. This is what really helps, and you have heard, most of the people who are having cancer, they go to integrative medicine or functional medicine. They say get on a juice diet, raw, fasting, have more vegetable juices. And we have today, I can see, we have at least 2 people in the audience who are still going through fighting cancer. So alkaline diet, because cancer progresses more quickly in an acidic environment, because basically acidic environment brings down the functioning of the human body. So cancer will progress faster. Even raw diet is also very detoxing. Water quality, alkaline water is what was mentioned there, and vegetable juices. Okay, because that's living food, and the fiber in that blended juice also does a lot of cleaning in the human body of oils and all unnatural things. There's a chapter in my book called this cleanse therapy. And one of the reasons why I went through biological reverse aging, I think I'm going to show a few slides of it tomorrow, is because through the cleanses, I rejuvenated my kidneys, my liver, and all those sick organs that the acupressure therapists are saying are very sick. So once your internal organs are cleaned up, then your body starts. That's what, if you keep your body healthy, it can even undo aging. You understand? So powerful the human body is. If you give it the chance, it'll do amazing things for you. So this is all about learning what are the wrong things that we are doing and correcting them. It has become so important in the world today. You will hear that vitamin D, people are taking supplements. And the research will show if vitamin D is not in your body, so many other vitamins, they cannot be, metabolized, they cannot be converted and used also. And you will say, what is this new research? Vitamin D is suddenly required. I'm saying, just see what you have done. You were born off vitamin D and sunlight and all, and what are you doing today? Inside the house, inside AC environments with no vitamin D, you are asking your body for a serious response. That is sickness because of vitamin D deficiency. So all of this is calling us back to a more natural living environment and choices. Pranayam, what Feli taught us, oxygenating the human body. The billion-dollar program in the US, they found out that cancer cells become cancerous when the oxygen level goes down in the human body. So the researchers, let us find some way in injecting injecting oxygen into every cell so that it reverses this cancer kind of activity. And so many billions of dollars are going behind it, and I don't know how many dollars, thousands of dollars a person is going to pay to get this treatment regularly. And India gave it free to the world. Yeah, you can oxygenate your whole body in 5 minutes now. And, so I'm saying they are finding really weird solutions to very natural alternatives. Again, plastic is coming here. Don't heat your food in plastic because of the fumes that come and get into your food. Plastic never existed on the planet before. Okay, so forget being around you. It certainly does not need to be in your body also. Some recommendations are there of having organic superfoods and more things which we used to eat regularly in the past when we had a jungle life, a village life, bark of trees, roots of trees, leaves. And sleep, of course, very vital for the human body to synchronize with the circadian rhythms of the planet. Cooking utensils. And there's a chapter in my book called Natural Health Therapy, which is a 4-step protocol that I've devised for people reversing any kind of illness. So I recommend the same thing for cancer as well. So I'm going to end here and invite Jay soon to the stage. But in this, this is the index of my book. And the point that I want to make is, I'm talking about healing only from here. That means 2/3 of the book, I'm just explaining how you got sick. Because if you know how you got sick, then you know how to undo those things. Okay, now, either one of these chronic irritations can happen to a person. If it's only energy irritation, it can be toxic devices around your place or even your harsh emotions. You've heard these stories in the world and people have even written books on them. How I reversed cancer by detoxing my life and, divorcing my husband or going back to the village and living in a natural life. So those are what I call energy cancers. Energy cancers, people have reversed like that within 3-4 months. Then the next level of difficulty is the foreign organisms in the substances inside your body, which you need to do detox, take wheatgrass, spirulina, then diatomaceous earth, then activated charcoal. You may need to do, if you got heavy metals in your body, you may need to do chelation therapy also, which Dr. Shikar Gowal does in her Healthy Healing Center in Sangolda. Okay. Metal toxicity also comes from mercury fillings in your teeth. So that's the second type of cancer. It's little more hard work to detoxify your life, change your diet, have green juices and all of that. But it's doable. The last is the most deadly one. And as per me, that was the only one that was happening. People say, you're talking about cancer. You know that 500 years back also, people used to have cancer. But it was very, 1 in 10,000 people used to get. Now it's 1 in 10 are getting. So yes, that rate of cancer was the parasitic cancer. But what we brought upon ourselves now is the emotional energy cancers and the food and substance cancers into our body. So for the organism cancer, sometimes natural parasitic cleanses work, like clove oil, or like Dr. Hulda Clark's protocol where you use black walnut hull and all of those things. Simple organisms, they kill simple germs, but there are some very strong germs which will not die easily with herbs. And for me, that is the only case where the cancer is moving rapidly. Then I know there are organisms that are eating it up very rapidly. That's the only case where I say, after we have done the emotional detox and we have done the substance and food and body products detox. That's why we're having all these stalls here: natural body products, soaps, and all of these things, natural food without preservatives. Once they do those 2 detoxes, most people reverse. But when there's a person still progressing fast, then I know it's a parasitic cancer. Parasitic cancer, if you cannot kill them with natural herbs, I say that's the only time you need chemotherapy actually. Because what is chemotherapy? It is such a toxic chemical that is put in your blood that it will kill anything that's there. Sorry? Sorry? Okay. Okay. So, silver nanoparticles. Yeah, that is one thing I have tried with people, and not every cancer person has been able to reverse, but it's got very good results. Colloidal silver nanoparticles, yeah. So, I don't blame also the modern industry, because you see, there are so many organisms that we are getting out and that are coming into our human body. So how do we expect the medical centers to test every organism that's living on the planet? And if it gets into your body, what you're supposed to do it, which medicine? There's no such research, and they don't know also. So if their hands are tied that let us put some toxin in the human body that will kill any living organism, that is one way out. And I only have a problem when, for every case of cancer, they are recommending chemotherapy. So I always say they should do the emotional detox first. Everything can happen, together. But first do the complete emotional and energy detox. Then do the food, substances, consumables, body products detox. And if that doesn't work, then only you look at something very serious like that. So I will invite Jay now to give another wonderful take with a lot of research and history into the evidence of why cancer was not happening earlier and what are the things we are doing today why cancer is increasing. I even heard about 3 years back, when I saw some evidence, and 2-3 of my therapist friends who were in Goa traveling to Delhi, Bombay and all, we sat down and we realized that there's more cancer happening in Goa than, Delhi and Bombay. And we traced it down to one thing, that a lot of, Goans are eating fish, from the sea. And being a coastal place, and because of the tourism, so much of garbage is in the sea and so much of plastic is in the sea that the salinity of the sea water is micronizing the plastic, and that molecules are getting into the fish, and we're eating that fish, and we are becoming the second carriers of plastic through that route. So you see, that's one route also why this. So our garbage problem also, and this plastic thing that's contaminating our environment, finally it's finding its way back to us. So we have to be very mindful in our own lives of making choices that are in an alignment with the natural construction and composition of the human body. Thank you.
Thank you, Darryl, for making my job a little easier. I'm a food activist, and the reason I'm talking about cancer is because I work with superfoods, and I work with people to help them come off what are these so-called autoimmune conditions. And my focus is food, and I want to tell you why the focus is food. Darryl mentioned that nowadays 1 out of 10 people are getting cancer. The official statistics are 1 out of 2 people in America, UK, Canada, and many developed nations. These are official figures, are probably going to get cancer. And the developing nations are not very far behind. We are kind of catching up. And everyone from monks in the mountains to yoga instructors, vegans, even our pets, our dogs, we've given cancer. So cancer is something that is, beginning to affect all of us, and it's very important that we not shove this topic under the carpet and think that the problem is somewhere else. The problem is very close to us, and we must understand what is going on. And the solutions, as difficult as allopathy and pharmaceuticals and the modern medicine world makes it sound, is not that difficult. So I'm going to tell you a little about what the problem is and how we've come so far, and why so many people will die of cancer. And I shudder to imagine how many people will die of cancer, but I'm not going to sugarcoat things, because I think it's too late in the day to sugarcoat things and try to just look at this massive, humongous problem as a something that we don't need to understand. Every individual needs to understand this problem. So I work with Anny Kohli. She's a senior farming activist for many decades. She's going to be talking tomorrow morning. Please, if you get a chance, please listen to her. I'll definitely be listening to her. I have learned most of these things, understood most of these things from her. And so this is an image of Goa, as you can see, as so beautiful. And I have moved to Goa. I live here, so thank you very much for keeping this place so beautiful. So, Jo Brahmande Sohi Pinde. Jo Brahmande Sohi Pinde is the first thing they teach you when you go to a Gurudwara. She's a Sikh woman, and I understand a lot of philosophy about life from her. And Jo Brahmande Soi Pinde means that how the universe works is how our body works too. In simple words, that's a basic translation of that. And my whole point about talking about Goa is that I live here and I enjoy the place and it's so beautiful, and but I also see a dark side of the world today because of my work. And so this is something called high strength leachate. High strength leachate is basically what comes out of a landfill. The waste water that trickles from a landfill is basically a garbage dump. So all over the world we have a garbage dump everywhere, right? We throw our plastics and our food and everything, all the industrial waste, everything, it goes into some garbage somewhere, and this is the kind of liquid that trickles down slowly. This is very symbolic, and it's a key to understanding the entire problem of global warming, of climate change, of cancer, of everything. So I have something in my pocket. So this, as we all know, is plastic, right? Now this is a bag that says, I am not plastic. Okay, they say it's made from cellulose. So, okay, we go and buy this, saying that, okay, we don't want to ruin the world, so we use this. And then this bag, which doesn't feel like plastic, doesn't sound like plastic, it'll tear like cloth, it'll burn like cloth, but it's plastic. It has polypropylene in it. So we live in a very confusing, fake world where all three are plastics, but they're given different names and different attributes, and millions of such things are in our landfill. And the leach liquid that comes out is this high-strength leachate. It is unbiodegradable to an unimaginable extent. We can never probably get rid of this for thousands of years. If you burn this liquid, it'll go up in gases, but it will not go away. It'll do something somewhere, it'll come down somewhere, we will eat it, inhale it. And this same thing I'm trying to show you is that these kind of leeches and this kind of, like Darryl said, atomic warfare that goes on, that is not obvious to our eyes, goes on all the time with our food. Okay, so WWF did a recent campaign. They had this credit card they showed, and they said it took you approximately 1 week to eat this credit card. So the previous estimates were that we're eating about 1 credit card every month worth of plastic, all of us. This new campaign suggests that we're eating 1 credit card worth of plastic every week. The bits, if you read the bottom, the bits of plastic are in our food, water, and air. Now, the reason I'm talking about food is because if you think of a monk in a mountain, a Buddhist monk, and how he got cancer, there's no mobile phones there. He's living a peaceful, decent life, doing yoga or whatever his karma is, dharma is. And still, how is he getting cancer? How are the yoga practitioners getting cancer? It's the food. We're all, when we're born, we're just one sperm. From one sperm, we become trillions of cells by eating. Our body is made up of our food. If you don't give food to a child, he will not grow up. So we are all made up of food. So, and that's why, and we're all in the whole world, we're all eating modern food. I'm going to explain that in a little detail. So I'm going to say all these things might be a little dark, but at the end of it, So how I compare cancer is like a bulldozer, okay? So if you're looking the other way, it'll run over you and you will be gone. But if you see it and you step aside, then you can avoid it easily. So I want you to think of it as a bulldozer, and I'm going to tell you where the bulldozer is coming and how to quickly step away from it so that you don't get rolled over. So I want you all to understand, especially the younger people, because this problem is not going to go away so easily. Modern medicine is never going to find a cure for cancer because, according to me, I think they're making it worse. I'll come to that later. But we have to go back in history to understand where we went so wrong. How can billions of people be expected to die and go away from something like cancer that the entire pharmaceutical industry and the doctors of the world and everyone, they're not able to understand it or solve it? Why? How did all this happen? In 1828, there was a German chemist, 28-year-old man, boy, whatever you want to call him, Friedrich Wöhler. He created a molecule called ammonium cyanate by accident, which resembled urea. Urea is produced in our kidney and in animals' kidneys, all mammals' kidneys. This man said that he called his friend, who was also a scientist, he said, I must tell you that I can make urea without the use of kidneys of man or dog. Ammonium cyanate is urea, he said. So, and the other fellow said, no, but how is that possible? So he proved it to him that, oh, listen, there is a fermentation process and there are carbon molecules and it's the same thing. So we must agree that this molecule that I have created is the same as urea. Now, this is where the problem is. This is where the problem in the scientific understanding of mankind kind of started. So, when he said ammonium cyanate is urea, what happened is the name got changed. Now, when we say today urea, what we are actually talking about is ammonium cyanate. It is not the same thing that our kidney produces. It is a fake molecule. It looks like the same thing. It has a similar chemical structure, molecular structure. It behaves in very similar ways. That's why I showed you these things. But they're very different. One has life in it. The one in our kidney, the urea that comes out of our kidney, has living organisms in it. It has a soul in it. It's a living thing. And what comes out of the lab, ammonium cyanate, which looks very similar, behaves similar, does not have life in it. So what happened in science is they ended the belief that the soul or God exists in living things. They said, from now on, we believe that everything is only molecular, and if we can make urea, then we can make so many things. So this man became famous, and it was the death of vitalism. Vitalism in the scientific community is understood as the study where you take into account the soul, that you believe that all molecules from living organisms had a life force in it. But after Mr. Wöhler, that theory got debunked and said, no, there is no such thing. All molecules are the same. There is no such thing as living molecule and dead molecule. Molecules are molecules. Chemical structure is same. That's it. So this is why, and then the whole line of organic chemistry started, and this man went on to make many fake molecules and gave them the original names. And this is where we crossed the line between natural and unnatural. What we call natural, there's a whole lot of confusion. Everyone knows, okay, cancer, you have to be natural, you have to stop your bad habits, you have to do this and you have to do that. But there is so much confusion because we don't know what is natural and unnatural anymore. Where do we draw the line? Because all this science has been used in our food. So I'm going to take you through that. Even today, if you go online and you check on Wikipedia, the definition of organic compound, it clearly says that organic compounds are no longer defined as coming from living organisms. It's clearly written on Wikipedia. But it's still hard for people to understand. Oh, what do you mean? Okay, so this is what happens. So this is a shop of ammonium cyanate, which is put in all our food. It has been put in our food for over 100 years now. All over the world, urea is added in the farms. That urea, it's not urea, it's ammonium cyanate that comes in our food. Cyanate, do you like the sound of any cyanate going into your body? It's very easy to understand that if you eat something like cyanate, something will happen inside your body, right? And so this science created in 1828, this molecule is now being fed to us. This is a urea shop in India right now. There's Zuari Agro also makes the same chemical. This is a microscopic view of synthetic molecules versus natural molecules. Vitamin A, B, and C on the left are synthetic molecules. People like Wohler make them. They look and behave kind of like the real natural molecule, but they don't really. So whether you want to call them fake, counterfeit, impure, unbiodegradable, dead, soulless, demonic, unconscious, ashuddh, denatured, synthetic. There are many names to give these molecules. But they're all unnatural molecules, not created by God or nature, created by man in the last couple of 100 years. So we may not understand the difference, and in the lab we'll fool ourselves saying that, oh, it's behaving the same way with a limited intelligence. We say it's the same thing. But the intelligence of our cells is millions of years old. The DNA holds intricate codes that man can never fathom. Our cells cannot take these unnatural molecules in our system beyond a point, and they throw up their hands and they say, okay, we can't take this anymore. They get inflamed, they get angry, they get pushed into a corner, and they go into a reproductive mode, saying that, it's like we want our own country. It's a survival mode of cells. And that's cancer. I'm going to make it simple now to understand how to understand the problems in the food and how to come out of it. We've created something called a toxic load chart. If you see the colors red to green, they signify the different categories of food, starting from meat, then seafood and eggs, dairy, grains, pulses, millets, fruits, vegetables, and finally you have herbs and algae, and the lightest things. In a way, this is also the natural karmic pattern, why they say what you are what you eat. So in a way, what karma means is not the karma that, oh, you're doing a sin by eating an animal. No. What you're doing is, when you eat an animal or when you consume something, you're consuming everything that went behind that. Everything that went into feeding that, irritating it, annoying it or not. And all that energy comes into us. So the lighter your food, the greener your food, the less karma you're taking in. It's not about the karma that you're doing onto the world by eating meat, it's the karma that you're taking in. Now, in a natural world, this would be the hierarchy, the colors. What man has done, man has added his own unnatural forces on food. So, the first is, we meddle with the genetics. We have been messing with crops even before genetic modification started in the lab. because humans are over smart. We like to choose our food. We like the tomatoes in a certain way, potatoes in a certain way, everything in a certain way. Our rice, our wheat, everything has to be how we want it, how we can serve it to our guests. So all these desires have created other greedy people to give you those things on the plate. And because of that, we mix this fruit with that fruit. It is not our job to mix breeds. It is nature's job. It takes thousands of years for nature to sing that song of mixing something and bringing it out in the world. Man does it in no time, overnight, in decades. We've changed the entire shape and color and flavor of foods entirely. That only happens through genetic mutations. And cancer, as everyone has now understood, that is also a genetic mutation of our cells. That means our DNA gets blasted. It can't take these kind of unnatural things anymore, and itself kind of goes mad. Our cells kind of go mad, and they get alienated and inflamed. So selective mutation has been going on for very long. Now we've entered a world of genetic modification because modern man is an expert with microscopes and computers. So thanks to these two things, now we've gone into genetic modification, and there are famous companies abroad doing billions of dollars worth genetic research, and not one of them has a solution for cancer. In fact, they're all getting cancer themselves. So first is, most important, we mess with genetics of all our food. Then the indirect nutrients that we feed our animals and our plants and our soil. We feed them chemicals, antibiotics, fertilizers, so many things. I explained to you the leachate. Leachate is such a complicated chemical, you can understand, no? All these complications we are feeding into our soil, into our animals, and then we're eating all that food. It's all going inside us. Then we process this food. Okay, so how is this plastic made? Anyone? I'll tell you, make it easy. This is made from something natural. This was not always plastic. It was made from something biodegradable. Now it's not biodegradable. We have taken something natural like crude oil, and we have denatured it and wrangled it out of shape with heat and industrial energy and man's great intelligence, and we have created this. This cannot be destroyed by nature for I don't know how long. And how will it get disintegrated in our body also? It's not possible. So processing is a big problem. That's why when you say that, okay, we cook rice, in a pressure cooker, you're taking white rice. First of all, the genetics might be compromised. You might be eating a modern strain. Then we want the polished because we want a certain taste. So all the nutrition, whatever little bit is there, that is also taken out. Plus we'll polish it with chemicals. So now we've added the chemicals on it. Then we'll put in a pressure cooker. What is a pressure cooker? It's going to blast the cells, whatever little bit is left of that almost fake rice. Whatever is left, that also we are blasting in the pressure cooker with so much energy. Back in the day, they didn't have all this technology, pressure cooker and gas and all this. So it was much simpler. They didn't mess it up so much. Now we have all this high-tech stuff, and more high-tech stuff is coming, thinking that they're providing more better solutions for the future generation, when they're actually we are digging our own grave deeper with more and more innovations. So processing and denaturing is what I'm trying to explain to you, is a very important part of what we are doing to our food. Denaturing, so you can imagine if this happens to your rice in your pressure cooker, what a Lay's, forget a Lay's is, a very bad example, but even any packaged food that you buy, they're all processed with industrial machinery. Food is something that's as gentle as us. We cannot process it and denature it and turn it into alien molecules and then eat it and say, oh, I'm not feeling well, and so many things are happening to us. So processing is the third unnatural force of man. These are the 5 unnatural forces I'm trying to explain. Once you understand where all we are doing these mistakes, then it'll be easy for you to make a choice. When you choose your food, when you choose a process, when you choose when to eat, how to eat, everything, you will think that, am I a victim of all the stupid thinking of the world and what the world has come to? Or do I want to use my own common sense and not do these things? I'm giving you this tool. This chart will be available online also if you want to download it and stick it on your wall for some time so that you understand the problem with the food chain. And once you understand it, then you won't need the chart, then it's here. Now, right on top of the chart is also, I forgot to mention, synthetic food, beverages, stimulants, intoxicants, and pharmaceuticals. This is a category that never existed in our food chain. We have created this synthetic category in the last couple of 100 years, and especially in the last 100 years. And in the last 50 years, we can say we've peaked out, especially in developed nations. And that's why cancer is affecting 50% of their entire population. When you say 50% of the entire population, that means entire families can be gone. This is just a statistic. There are entire families that are going in cancer, then they're thinking, oh, it's genetic, and they're just getting more and more confused. So processing is a very dangerous thing. That's why processed food, please stay away from. Eat home food. Make sure you source good ingredients, organic ingredients from local farmers who you go and talk to, find out, encourage them not to use urea, and eat their food. Pay them a little extra price. Then you have your additives. Because we strip our food of everything, then modern science will say, oh, the food is not good enough, you're short of vitamin this and vitamin that, so let's fortify it. So all packaged food you will see comes with fortification. So vitamin A and vitamin C, then you see the label, oh wow, this has everything I need. But I showed you the molecular structure. Nor the vitamin A that you will eat is natural, nor the vitamin B, nor the vitamin C, nor is anything in that package natural. Because we crossed the line between natural and unnatural long ago. We accept what is today's everything is natural. No, it's not natural. That beautiful image of Goa is beautiful, but there's something wrong with the environment, right? It's not raining normally. There were 4 seasons in Goa, 4 monsoon patterns. Traditionally, they're gone. There's something seriously going on wrong, right? And that's not just climate change. The same thing, that same leachate that's made a hole in the sky is the same leachate that's causing the cancer in our body. And the last one is consumption. So these 4, you can say, what can I do about it? You know, government told me it's a safe food. Now the government is saying it's not safe food, or some other people are saying eat organic, but then organic also you can't trust. So all this confusion. And so you say, okay, so point 1, 2, and 3, 4 is not in my hands, God's wish. Let's see, you know, whatever happens, happens, okay. But consumption is something that we all do. And even the above things, like I said, if you start growing your own food, or you encourage local farmers, dig into their process a little bit, make sure, encourage them, pay them a little extra, make sure they don't use chemicals and urea and all of this in their farm, and you eat that food. But consumption is something that depends independently, individually on all of us, and we can make a change right now. So first is the technique. I can't get into details of all of this, but there are many experts here who tell you better techniques, a way to eat. Listen to these things, they're important things. Every unnatural process in our body adds to creating the cancer. The stress, the mobile phones, everything is adding stress to already cells that are tired and crying out for help. These things are adding the problem. So please understand the right way, the right time to eat. Wake up in the morning, take some sun, do some yoga, have breakfast. Don't depend on heavy dinners. Eat in the day. Don't eat and then go to sleep. These kind of things, anyway, we are taking in so many unnatural molecules. They get more messed up inside when we do these wrong things. And then, of course, we have, there's so much stress in the world, and there's greed of people. And the most difficult thing to actually understand is addiction. What happens is, all these chemicals that we have consumed all our life, they're very addictive. And so people say that, I'm not so greedy, but sometimes I want my little sweet, or sometimes, it's okay. Now, and then people try to fight with themselves that, I'm such an addict. Now, addiction, you have to understand, is we are made up of trillions of organisms inside us. And it's the organisms that live within us that ask for whatever we ask for, whatever we can't resist. So if we breed the bad guys inside our body, if there are more of the bad guys inside my body, they're going to ask for the bad things. If I don't give them what they want, and I let the good guys breed inside my body slowly and steadily, then they won't ask for the bad things. They are the guys who want the good things. So then I start eating better things. So it's not about killing myself, saying that, I'm such an addict and, I keep eating this. I know it's bad for me, but I keep going back to it. No. Respect yourself as the soul, not as the body. Your body is just today what it is, a mix of all those organisms. Change the balance of the good organisms and the bad organisms, and that's how you get out of addictions. Get the bad guys out of your system slowly, wean them out. So, this is in summary of how to avoid cancer or any autoimmune, so-called autoimmune. Like he said, there's no such thing as autoimmune. These are things because the pharmaceutical industry and all of these people, they believe in a mechanical science, molecular science, as I explained before. They don't see that living organisms have a life force in it. Every living cell has a life force in it. Every living molecule has a living life force in it. They don't understand that, and that's why they get their whole science wrong. And that's why they keep advising wrong things, and that's why they're not able to solve cancer. So, just going to summarize cancer, very similar thing in different words. Cancer is a mammalian cell response to unnatural molecules. Pretty much the same thing that Darryl also explained. Cancer is a side effect of modern lifestyle and food. It is not a disease. Please understand this. And the problem with modern lifestyle and food is not every individual's fault. We have been told that these things were safe. Today we are finding out that none of it was safe, far from safe. It's killing us. So it's not about killing yourself, saying that, my lifestyle is bad. Okay, if it's bad, it's something that has happened over a long time. Take your time to fix it. Get out of it. Don't be in the queue for cancer now that you have all this information of how it's coming into our system. And I want to stress on the fact that, yes, all these things are adding to this whole cancer problem. your mobile phones and these rare parasites. But what we do every day is we eat. If we don't eat for a few days, we'll die. So we have to eat, and we do eat. And every time we eat, we compound the problem, or we can heal ourselves. We can choose. I'm going to quickly take you through 13 myths of cancer. If people have confusions, I'm going to sort them out quickly. Cancer always existed, wasn't detected. If you see what happens to a lot of people who have cancer, I think this statement is a completely stupid statement. Inflammations existed in a different form. Like ma'am says, phode hote the. People used to get boils every year, and there was a mechanism of how it would come out of our system. But cancer is not the same kind of inflammation, so it didn't exist before. We have brought it upon ourselves. Cancer has nothing to do with food. Cancer has everything to do with food. Cancer is caused by stress. Stress only makes a bad situation worse. It doesn't create cancer. Cancer happens to older people. No, cancer happens to anyone who consumes unnatural molecules. Cancer is passed on genetically. No, cancer is not passed on genetically. Genetically, we only pass on dispositions, our likes and dislikes and habits. Cancer cells are enemy cells. No, they are your own cells. If you kill them, chemotherapy, for example, is a technology that started in Hitler's gas chambers. It's a stupid technology. They are not our enemy cells. They are our own cells. They need healing. They don't need to be destroyed and killed. Allopathy will solve cancer. No comments. Marijuana technology will solve cancer. They're messing the plant in the same way that they've messed up all the other plants, and then they take something natural, make an unnatural version out of it, and then tell you this is the solution and create more problems. People who eat only certified organic foods don't get cancer. There's a big problem in the definition of organic, which I'm going to talk about very briefly after her talk tomorrow morning. I'm going to throw light on why this whole organic certification is so rubbish, and what is the problem and how to understand it. Cancer is a small problem compared to climate change. If 1 out of 2 people in America, Canada, Europe, and many more people are gone, more people will be gone from cancer than have ever lived upon earth. More people will be gone from cancer than have ever lived upon earth. That's how big the problem is, because the problem is on our plate. Cancer is not bad luck. Like I said, it's like a bulldozer. If you're looking the other way, it's going to run you over. If you see it coming, you can step aside and be saved. This is the official UK website. Yeah. Cancer can be cured by mind. Yeah, I skipped that. Very important one. Monks, yoga gurus, dogs, they're getting cancer. So how is a physical problem, a problem created by unnatural molecules that we are putting in our system, how will the mind remove them magically? Can we get rid of climate change by meditating? Can we remove all the plastic from the world by meditating? So then how can you remove it from your body? Not by meditating, by eating the right things that will start flushing this stuff out. Eating clean, eating good, organic stuff, natural stuff, which has the power to remove all these toxins, take them out and throw them out. Yeah, this is just the statistic on cancer. Jo Brahmande, Sohi Pinde. Thank you.
From what Jay shared today and more what he will share tomorrow, and especially as he details so much on the food part, I hope it's becoming clear to you all that even organic, most of the food that you're getting nowadays is all man-made, right? So, and what are they doing with all those things? So if you cannot trust even man-made certain things that come under organic certification, even if an organic molecule, what is called, is made by man, then what can you trust? One reference is the dogs who are getting cancer are the ones who are via feeding. The cats also and all of them who are getting diabetes are the ones who we are feeding. All other species on this planet who we have not touched and are there in the wild, none of them are getting cancer. And in the food department, none of them are doing anything to the food that was given to them by God. None of any of the other species on this planet are modifying their food. They just find it and they eat it. So this is a big window into that space, what we have done with our food. And if you cannot trust anybody else with what they're doing with our food, the only option you are left is you start making your own food. And so that is an open invitation, a very important advice to everyone here to come tomorrow for our talk on how to grow your own food naturally. Not organic, certified, and how to do it naturally with natural, so that at least you can trust what you're doing with the soil and what you're doing. That's the only food now that you can trust, I think. Okay? So finally, you start practicing it in your own small spaces and all that, get the knack of it. Because only at an individual level, if it's not working, there are companies and so many of dollars and billions of, company profits, they've put their investments into all of this and they can't just jump out of it. Right? So are they really going to do the corrective actions for the sake of the future of our children? We are the ones who have to do it. So start, getting, there were those forwards and all on WhatsApp and all of that. The time will come when, we will have to eat our money, When everything else that the money has bought is all contaminated and useless and polluting, then we are only left with that money, and then I don't know how organic that paper is. So, yes. So definitely be interested in making your own food. I think it's becoming a necessity nowadays if we want to have a future for ourselves and our children. I was featured some months back in an article in the newspaper in Goa, where 4 engineers, they left engineering and all and they came and they're doing food, natural farming. Okay? So engineers are people who think, their scientific bent of mind, they see cause and effect and all that, and all of us got so scared that we said we have to ditch money and all fame and all those scientific things and modern life and high-fly jobs and all, and we really have to take, some serious action ourselves. Yes, thank you.
Thank you, Darryl, and thank you, Jay. Healing cancer is such a huge topic. It's not something that can be done in an hour or so, but I think we all agree that Darryl and Jay have really broken it down for us and given us really good tips, advice, and guidelines on how we can actually start making sense of this and start taking charge of our own healing. So thank you so much. I would now like to request Dr. Alex Fernandez to please come up on stage to present Memento to Darryl D'Souza and to Jay. Please.